About halfway through Transformers 1, I had this realization and feeling that this movie is just a 2-hour long episode of the cartoon that I used to watch when I was a kid. And it is awesome.
Bing bong!
Right off the bat, I owe an apology for judging this movie based off of the trailer. The trailer of which I saw about 5 seconds before turning it off, thinking it was too cringy, thinking that it looked so dumb and unnecessary. The animation, I just wasn't feeling it. I was dead wrong. Transformers 1 is easily one of the best movies of the year. It's one of the best animated movies of the year. It's one of the best Transformers movies ever. I think maybe it's not as difficult of an accomplishment because Transformers has a bit of a shaky history. Transformers 1 is everything I could have hoped for as a very, very casual fan of the franchise, and a film that I'm sure hardcore fans of the franchise will absolutely adore. Going into this movie, I knew very little, especially because I completely abandoned the trailer after just a few seconds. But I will say, learning about the early relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron is not something that I knew I really, really wanted to see, something that I genuinely had interest in. In the present day, the current version of Transformers that I know, these two are bitter enemies, and I know, ultra casual, I had no idea that they used to be friends. No idea, and I love what this movie explores, even before they got their actual names, and they were just working in the mines, mining for Energon, meeting randomly one day in the locker room. Like, it just, I don't know, it was such a down-to-earth story that, while I'm sure probably, arguably could be seen as maybe a little predictable just in the directions that they go, which is not a bad thing, because predictable in this instance of this movie just means that pretty much everything they decided to do made complete sense and took the story in the direction that me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, are happy that it went in. I'll also say that when it comes to animated movies, I'm a little bit of a stickler for the lack of actual voice actors being cast in these films. A lot of the times it's just becoming huge Hollywood celebrities being given these opportunities that previously went towards people whose entire careers were based on voice acting. That being said, the voice acting in this movie is incredibly well done. It is so well cast. Brian Tyree Henry and Chris Hemsworth acting across from each other as Megatron and Optimus Prime. Fantastic. Chris Hemsworth does a really, really good young Optimus Prime voice. I never would have thought of him for this role, but he absolutely nailed it. I think what's also cool to see, Chris Hemsworth has a career outside of the Avengers movie. It's not easy. A lot of people get typecast, and it just made me really happy to see him succeed in another role that isn't Thor. He's done it before. He's done other really good movies, but to see him do it again in this movie, especially in a voice acting capacity, was really exciting and just made me really happy because he was an incredibly great choice. Transformers 1 does so much well. The pacing for this movie is fantastic. It's funny when it needs to be funny. It is serious when it needs to be serious, and this movie has some truly dark moments, especially for a PG film, but it all works. It's all done so well. I was engaged throughout the entire film. I don't know if they're planning on doing more of these. I don't know if this is the first of a trilogy of some sort, but I will say, I think we are reaching a point where Transformers should be animated. I think that's where it all began. It began as animation, and it got way distant from animation with all the Michael Bay movies. Seeing this film and then seeing, Paramount putting out Ninja Turtles movie last year, I think we're reaching a point where if the animation quality is there and the script is there, there's no reason to not do these films as animated movies. It's what we all grew up on. I think that in order to feel that same kick of nostalgia that I felt watching this movie, it's a really good direction to go in. And so if it is a one-off, they absolutely nailed it. But if they decide to make more of these Transformers animated movies, I am so in. This was one of my favorite movies of the year. Do not dismiss it like I did. The reviews are all telling the truth. This movie is awesome. It's incredibly well done. It is an absolute blast as an audience member from start to finish. And if you get a chance to go check out Transformers 1, I highly recommend it.